It was past midnight. The house was silent in a strange, tense way. The faint glow from Dad's room stretched across the hallway, and Mom was probably still awake. I sat on the couch, gripping my phone, yet my mind was somewhere else entirely. The words my mother had spoken the night before echoed in my ears. "Your sister is struggling, and you'll handle it." Dad's quiet approval. That silence settled into me like a stone. A silence filled with responsibility. Pressure, respect, worry, and maybe even anger. I had always thought that siblings were supposed to support each other. But sometimes it feels like you're being asked not only to support, but to sacrifice yourself entirely. I wish my parents ever remembered that being the older child doesn't mean being invincible. Being the responsible one doesn't make pain disappear. But no, I was the elder, and elders are always expected to be strong. I leaned my head against the couch. My eyes closed, but my mind ran in circles. On one side, my sister's cries, her broken voice, her shattered dreams. On the other side, my parents' silent expectations and the unspoken weight they had placed on me. Yes, I would save my sister. Yes, I would hold her hand. Yes, I would guide her. But who would hold me when I broke? I remembered the days when Aman was a little girl, throwing tantrums, and I would fight the world just for her. Mom would smile and say, "My son is such a hero." Today, maybe she still thought that. The difference was that now, the hero's eyes were heavy with exhaustion. I drew a deep breath, placing my phone aside and walked to the window. The moonlight spilled softly into the room. Moon that sometimes feels like the only comfort when words aren't enough. Tomorrow I had to see her. The sister who had once been fearless, stubborn, and full of life was now fragile and barely recognizable. Every ounce of strength she had seemed to have vanished. Suddenly, Mom's voice called from behind me. "Still awake?" I turned to see her standing by the window, worry written all over her face. But there was also helplessness, as if she wanted to help, but didn't know how. "I can't sleep," I whispered. Mom came closer and said softly, "Beta, my heart aches for your sister. I feel like only you can lift her up again." I looked down. You both. Mom was silent. For a long moment, she couldn't answer. Her eyes filled with unshed tears. "Then we'll hold you. But right now, your sister needs you." I felt a sharp pang in my chest. I wished no parent ever forgot that being older isn't a superpower. Older children feel pain, they cry, they break too. Yet perhaps Mom meant well. There was love in her words, a plea and hope too. I managed a weak smile. "Okay, Mom, I'll be there for her." Mom placed her hand on my head, smiled faintly, and returned to her room. The sound of her footsteps faded. I looked out the window. The sky was still dark, but the calm of the night felt like it was filling me with resolve. Tomorrow would be heavy, too heavy. But I understood something clearly. It changed too, the next morning. When I saw Iman, she looked even weaker than the night before. Dark circles under her eyes, her voice soft and fragile, and the forced smile she wore like armor. Everything screamed the struggle she had been hiding. "Brother!" "Thank you for coming," she whispered. I held her hand. "I should have been here sooner." "Why didn't you call me?" She looked down. "I didn't want to be a burden. I thought maybe I could handle it myself." I immediately said, "You're never a burden. You are not my responsibility, you are my pride. Your struggle is my struggle." Tears rolled down her cheeks. I hugged her like I used to when she was little and afraid of thunderstorms. But now, the storm wasn't outside. It was inside her, and she had been weathering it alone for far too long. "I feel like I'm gone. I'm not who I used to be," she said, her voice cracking. I stroked her hair. "It's okay. If you've been broken, I'll help you put yourself back together. You're not alone. As long as I'm here, you won't break again," she whispered. "But everyone blames me." I said firmly, "I don't. And that's enough." Her eyes closed. Resting on my shoulder, for the first time in years, she felt safe. Later on our way back home, I reminded her that Mom and Dad were worried. But she now knew the real weight would be shared. She kept looking at me as if to say, "Brother, I didn't mean to trouble you." And I kept replying, No relationship is a burden. It just makes your heart heavier, and that's okay. When we reached home, Dad was watching us. His face carried the same silence, but this time, I spoke honestly. Dad, Iman needs professional help. She isn't weak, she needs support. Dad sighed. I told you to be strong. Perhaps we didn't give her the support she needed. That moment, I knew we were finally moving forward. We made an appointment with a therapist. And slowly, Iman's small victories started appearing, eating properly. Laughing a little, sitting calmly, Mom and Dad began realizing that suppressing feelings doesn't solve anything. Dad started talking to her gently, and Mom would smile at her tiny laughs. Days passed and Iman started improving. I told her, "It will take time, but we are with you." She rested her head on my shoulder and whispered, "Thank you, brother. You showed me a love I never understood." And in that moment, I realized that being siblings wasn't just about responsibility, it was about strength, hope, and being each other's lifeline. The morning light slowly crept into the room, but Iman's room remained dim. I looked around her clothes, her bed, her scattered books, but the most important thing was her face. She still looked tired, fragile, but there was a faint spark in her eyes. A small glimmer of hope after everything that had happened in part 1. I gently shook her awake. "Iman, wake up. It's time." She opened her eyes slowly, looked at me with a mixture of shyness and helplessness. "Brother, will you really stay with me?" Her voice trembled. I looked into her eyes. "Yes, you're not alone. From today, nothing will disturb you. We are all here with you." For a moment she stayed silent, then slowly nodded. I took her hand and led her toward the kitchen. Mom was already preparing breakfast, but this time her expression was a mix of worry and relief, not just a smile. "Beta, look. I was afraid of putting too much pressure on you, but today you handled everything," she said. I replied softly, "Mom, the real work is just beginning. We all have to support her, not just me." Mom nodded, and perhaps for the first time, she completely agreed with me. Iman looked at the breakfast table hesitantly, and I told her, "Come, eat. You need energy today to face your day." During breakfast, we remained quiet, but the silence felt peaceful and comforting. For the first time in years, it felt like the house had balanced after breakfast. I took her to her room now. "You need to know how we're going to get through this," I said. She hesitated, then whispered, I'm scared. I don't know where to start." I placed my hand on her shoulder. "We'll take it slow. Today we'll just talk. No pressure." And that's how our plan began. Step 1. Emotional support. Step 2. Professional help. Step 3. Involving Mom and Dad so they understand that emotions cannot be suppressed. Iman slowly began opening her heart. She told me how she felt anxious over little things, how she felt unsafe, and how she thought nobody could understand her. I listened to every word, every breath, every cry. I reassured her that this was normal, and she wasn't weak, just tired and overwhelmed. Meanwhile, I suggested to Mom that we should see a therapist at first. She hesitated, but finally she said, "Okay, Beta, do what you think is right. We are with you." And it was time to talk to Dad. He was still silent, but this time I spoke honestly. "Dad, Iman needs professional help. This isn't weakness, it's a necessity. If we don't care for her, she will suffer." Dad took a deep breath. "We always told you to be strong. But perhaps we didn't give your sister the support she needed," he admitted. Hearing that, I knew progress was being made. We booked an appointment with a therapist, and slowly, small improvements in Iman's condition became visible. Her little victories, eating more, laughing a little, sitting calmly for short periods, gave us hope. I noticed Mom and Dad slowly beginning to understand that suppressing emotions doesn't solve anything. Dad started speaking to her sometimes, and Mom would smile at her faint laughter. Days passed, and Iman gradually improved. I told her, "This will take time, but we are with you." Iman nodded, resting her head on my shoulder. "Thank you, brother. You gave me the love I never understood before." That moment made me realize that a sibling bond isn't just responsibility. It's strength, hope, and support for life.